On the heels of another brutal killing of a 3-year-old boy, the advocacy group Hear the Children's Cries renewing its call for stronger child protection measures, including the implementation of a $1 million bounty for child killers. Director Nigel Cooper joins us via Zoom to discuss the proposal. Good morning, Nigel.
Morning, Mr. Cooper. How are you?
Hi, good morning, guys. Thank you for having us.
It's our pleasure.
All right, so let's kick things off with what exactly are you proposing? We hear bounty, we hear $1 million. Can you just provide us with some more insight on what this proposal will look like?
Sure. First of all, we want to issue our heartfelt condolences to the families of Jace and Sonia, who were recent victims, child victims. So what Hear the Children's Cry is proposing is usually when people offer rewards, it's done after the fact. It is done usually for high-profile cases. What Hear the Children's Cry proposed that we have an automatic, almost a standard operating procedure that persons know in advance. And we want to send a message to these insane gunmen that they would know that if you go into an area and you decide to pull a trigger and a child is in the environs, that you and the child gets killed, automatically you will have a $1 million bounty on your head. So this is not something that, sometimes will happen or it won't happen. So the persons know in advance, everybody knows that this is the case. And we're saying that this would be a disincentive. We did our research. It never has been done elsewhere, but we're not afraid of being, innovative for our Jamaican culture. That automatically, so they know in advance. So it's a disincentive. It's not a maybe. It's not a $1 million bounty will be on their head. And we believe this could be a disincentive and also help the communities and persons to pass information. But we really want it to be a disincentive that before everybody knows in advance, which is different from traditional rewards, which happens after the event. So that is one of the things that we want to push. That's one of the key things that we want to push.
Double-barrel question here from me, Mr. Cooper. Who will put up the $1 million? That's the first thing I want to know. And is it for, if I call the police and say, well, I know he's would do it, and they catch him, is me get the $1 million?
Okay, so first of all, we're saying the government is the one that would put up this $1 million. Let me explain, Neville. Between 2020 and 2024, on average, each year of those years, 30 children in Jamaica were murdered.
How many?
So 30, 30, on average. Between 2020 and 2024, each year, we have an average of 30 children being murdered in Jamaica. So, we're looking, I don't like to use statistics with murders and all that, but you're looking on 30 million if the trend were to hold true. So we believe the government should fund that. We believe the security forces will look at the mechanisms in terms of who gets the reward. It should lead to the arrest and conviction of the person. Right? So that those mechanics the security forces can work out. Right? And we are thinking that 30 million, and we're hoping that with this new procedure policy that we won't pay out that amount because persons will find it as a disincentive to be in an area and pull trigger, shoot up where children are, because they know automatically there'll be a bounty on their head.
Well, I'm shocked when you tell me 30 for you. I didn't know that, but I know we lost
between 2020 and 20. I don't have the figures for 2025 yet, but between those years, 2020 and 2024, every year 30. Average of 30.
No, as I said, I did know that, and I know recently, unfortunately, we lost a 3-year-old, we lost a 4-year-old. But when you say children for that 30, what age group we talking about? When you say children?
Under 18.
Under 18. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So maybe that's the reason that I was a little confused a while ago, because when you said 30 children, I'm going, I didn't know that we were close to that. Janelle?
Yes. So, Mr. Cooper, in addition to the bounty, you also speak about harsher penalties. What are some of those penalties that you are also proposing?
Okay. Well, the bounty, let me explain what Hear Children's Cry is saying. The bounty is an immediate response that we need to rebuff these crazy gunmen that are out there. But Janella and Neville, these gunmen shooting children is a symptom. We need to treat the root cause, right? So we can't. So we are saying, we are saying that we need significant societal social programs. We need both in the school. Right now, the outcome of a child at school is that they should have 5 CXCs inclusive of math and English. And you would say, yes, they have done well. We're saying no, that outcome has to change, or there has to be additional outcomes that we're producing socially, social graduates who can relate to each other, who understand situations, conflict, leadership, ethics, right? And so we need a program within the schools, first of all, significant. So we need to change the programs in the school. We need more resources for them to do that, because right now, many guidance counselors have a ratio of, in many schools, one guidance counselor to 500, right? Which can't work if you try and give more support. Then for the parents, so that's one thing. We need massive social programs for the school, those in school. And then we can't leave this current generation out because we're here. We need another massive social program for the parenting. And we have said a 10-year parenting project. And we're saying it would take 10 years, Neville and Janelle, because we're talking about behavior modification. We're talking about changing culture, which takes time. So it has to be, there are now pockets of organizations that are doing good stuff, but nowhere near the scale that we need to change the Jamaican mindset. And remember, this didn't happen over the last 10, 20, 40, 50 years. So it's going to take 10 years. And I always said to the politicians, it's going to cost us billions. And the first thing people said to me, oh, Nigel, we can't afford it. And I always say, we cannot not afford it. We need to spend to change the mindset, the culture of our society, because that is the root cause. How we deal with each other, how we interact with each other is a spin-off of these murders and how so we need to spend the money. People say, oh, I don't like to spend on, so we need to spend well-designed programs, right? And we did submit a proposal to the Honorable Minister of Education from last year about that. So we really want, and we don't care if we lead it or not, but it needs to be implemented to save our nation.
Yep. Do you have a plan B? What if the government says, well, we can't do that, we don't have the money, and we can't do that? Is there a plan B?
Well, good question. A plan B is that we continue to pray for our nation, but we need to get the reality. I don't want, again, some people think we've hit rock bottom already. I don't want it that 5 years from now realize, oh, we should have started this thing 10 years ago, and realize now, because we're now in total social chaos in Jamaica, let us now spend the money. So rather than we get to a point where it's inevitable that the change is forced upon us, let us be well-thinking, forward-thinking, our leaders, our society, say, hey, let us put it in place now. So that's my answer to, rather than a plan B. I'm hoping that they will see the fruits and the benefit of doing it now than later, because Neville, our society is on a slippery slope. And so we don't want it to slide further. We need to have a well-designed social program intervention for in the schools and in the parents generally. It's a 10-year process. It's going to take a lot of money, but we can't avoid it. If we try to avoid it, all we're going to do is delay the inevitable, and we're going to suffer. We're going to have more situations in the society.
But in the absence of a plan A, plan B, people just do jungle justice. What's your view on that?
No, well, we're not supportive of jungle justice. There are laws, there are processes, and we don't want to. So two wrongs don't make a right, right? As we learned from primary school, two wrongs don't make a right. So again, knowing that's all part of the whole culture, that you do the proper processes, and we hope and we pray that the legal processes will take proper they will act properly and they will be processed and they will suffer the consequences of the law. So
Yep.
we're not into jungle justice, but we know the temptation is there for jungle justice. But we would say to the communities, no, two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, we know it's hard. We know it's emotional. You feel it. It's your relative. It's persons you know. You feel that these guys are wicked. You know, they don't deserve to whatever. But we need, you know, to follow the rules, or else society again. And the problem with jungle justice, sometimes the wrong person, as we've had in the case of Jamaica, persons, and I realize, whoa, it was the wrong person. So we
Yep.
want to have the
Yep.
officials do their job.
All
Let
right.
the police do their job.
All right, Mr. Cooper, thank you. Hopefully, we will stop, however we do it. I pray that we stop hurting our...
Well, I said the first start, at least for the stopgap until we get the programs, the $1
Yeah, man.
million automatic bounty
All right.
is a starting point. At least let us get that get going while we sort out the money, the billions that we need for the social programs.
All right,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we have to go. Nigel Cooper, director of Hear the Children's Cry. All right, folks, when we come back from the break, we're discussing the increase in body donations to science. Stay with us, please. Soon come.